Imagine stumbling across something truly bizarre on Google Earth, a mysterious pyramid rising from the icy plains of Antarctica. It wouldn't take long for the internet to explode with theories. Could this be a message from an alien civilization? Is this pyramid a natural formation or something else? This wouldn't be the first pyramid discovered in Antarctica. The first such structure was spotted way back in the 1910s by a British expedition, but its discovery remained a closely guarded secret for decades. This secrecy only fueled the intrigue. Then, in 2016, another pyramid-like formation was found, further stoking the fires of speculation. But the truth, as is often the case, is a little less sensational. Scientists have since determined that these formations are, in fact, mountains. They're located near the Ellsworth Mountains, a range stretching over 250 miles. These pyramids are simply mountain peaks that have broken through the immense ice sheet. As for their peculiar shape, it's a trick of nature. Pyramidal shapes occur in many places. Consider the Matterhorn in the Alps, or Mount Balfell in Iceland, both strikingly similar in form. The official term for these rocky peaks piercing through the ice is nunatak. Antarctica holds many other incredible secrets. Did you know it contains 60 to 90% of the world's fresh water? That's because its ice sheet is the largest on Earth, blanketing a staggering 5.4 million square miles. To put that in perspective, only about 1% of the continent is ice-free. And at its deepest point, the ice reaches a thickness of 2.7 miles, almost half the height of Mount Everest. If all that ice were to melt, global sea levels would rise by approximately 200 feet. It wasn't always a frozen wasteland, though. Millions of years ago, during the age of dinosaurs, Antarctica enjoyed temperatures similar to those of modern-day Melbourne. Scientists estimate that temperatures could have reached a balmy 62.6 degrees Fahrenheit some 40 to 50 million years ago. And speaking of time, it behaves strangely on this continent. All the lines of longitude converge at the South Pole, creating a single point. Here, the year is split into 6 months of daylight, followed by 6 months of complete darkness. Researchers stationed here often stick to the time zone they came from for convenience. Now, imagine blood-red waterfalls cascading down a glacier. This isn't a scene from a horror movie, but a real phenomenon known as blood falls. Located in one of the driest regions of Antarctica, these falls originate from an underground lake teeming with unique bacteria. These organisms use sulfates as fuel instead of sugars, a process that fascinates scientists. The water in the lake is incredibly rich in iron, which rusts upon contact with air, giving the falls their distinctive crimson hue. The megalodon, Otodus megalodon, the largest predator ever to roam our oceans, likely never patrolled the waters near Antarctica. While this colossal shark lived in oceans across the globe, it favored warmer tropical and subtropical environments. The absence of megalodon teeth in Antarctica suggests that these icy waters were simply too cold for this gigantic creature. If you ever plan a visit to Antarctica by sea, forget about wooden boats. The hull of your vessel must be constructed from steel or aluminum to withstand the extreme weather conditions. And finally, when you think of insects in Antarctica, think small. Really small. There's only one true insect species that calls this continent home. Belgica antarctica, a wingless midge. This tiny fly, measuring a mere 0.08 to 0.23 inches in length, holds the distinction of being Antarctica's largest terrestrial animal, a true giant in a land of ice. Venture into the frigid realm of Antarctic fish, creatures possessing a remarkable adaptation, an antifreeze substance coursing through their veins. While its primary role isn't solely warding off the pervasive cold, it serves as a crucial defense against the ever-present threat of ice. These natural antifreezes are complex glycoprotein molecules, acting as guardians against the formation and spread of ice crystals within the animal's delicate tissues. Imagine these glycoproteins as microscopic bodyguards surrounding any nascent ice crystals and preventing them from propagating and causing cellular damage. They also function as tiny, resilient cushions, mitigating the sharp edges of ice crystals, reducing the potential for pain and injury. Paradoxically, despite its icy reputation, Antarctica experiences very little rainfall. Instead, it boasts a unique meteorological phenomenon: diamond dust. Picture this: minuscule ice crystals, born from the humid air near the surface, suspended in the atmosphere like an ethereal icy fog. As sunlight kisses these crystalline particles, they erupt in a dazzling display of brilliance, transforming the landscape into a shimmering expanse, as if the very air is filled with diamonds. Perhaps not the most conventional birthing location, but in 1978, Antarctica witnessed its first human birth. Emil Marco Palma entered the world on this icy continent, and since then, approximately 10 other individuals have followed suit. Deep within Antarctica lies a lake with an extraordinary secret. Its hypersaline waters defy freezing, even when temperatures plummet to a frigid 15 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees worse. This resilience stems from the fundamental principle that pure water freezes at 0 degrees, 30 degrees. However, the presence of salt or any other dissolved substance disrupts this process, requiring significantly lower temperatures to induce freezing. The precise freezing point is dictated by the nature and concentration of the dissolved substance. Antarctica, the Earth's southernmost continent, remained shrouded in mystery, the last landmass to be officially discovered. It eluded human eyes until the 1820s, and even then, it took another 2 decades to definitively confirm its continental status, distinguishing it from a mere cluster of icy islands. The harsh climate might seem to preclude romance, yet even here, love can bloom. One December evening, an American scientist stationed in Antarctica, driven by sheer curiosity, logged onto a dating app. Expecting to find no matches in this desolate landscape, he was astonished to encounter another profile. A fellow researcher, located a mere 45-minute helicopter ride away, shared his remote outpost. Fate intervened, and they embarked on what is believed to be the first recorded date in Antarctica. Beyond its icy facade, Antarctica harbors another treasure, far more abundant than anywhere else on Earth: meteorites. Scientific research suggests that meteorites strike all regions of our planet with equal probability. However, the journey through Earth's atmosphere introduces complexities. In humid climates, like those near jungles, moisture and oxygen accelerate the corrosion of meteorites. Conversely, Antarctica's arid environment minimizes corrosion. Furthermore, the stark contrast between the dark meteorites and the pristine white ice makes them significantly easier to spot than in other environments. If the cold doesn't deter you, the ferocious winds of Antarctica surely will. This continent claims the title of the windiest place on Earth, with recorded wind speeds reaching a staggering 320 kilometers per hour, 200 mph. Imagine yourself descending into the inky depths of the Antarctic waters. An ethereal blue darkness envelops you, reminiscent of the vastness of space. Here, where you least expect to find life, a peculiar sound pierces the silence. A loud quacking noise, as if some gargantuan duck lurks in the abyss. In 1960, researchers documented this sound, dubbing it the bioduck. For decades, they grappled with its origins. Was it a colossal kraken, an extraterrestrial spacecraft that had plunged into the ocean, a mysterious sea monster, or perhaps, as the name suggested, a gigantic duck? Theories abounded, each more outlandish than the last. Oceanographers have since detected similar sounds in other locations. Imagine vast stretches of the ocean, concealing secrets we're only beginning to understand. Off the western coast of Australia and near New Zealand, researchers detected peculiar sounds. These weren't just any noises. They were high-pitched signals, consistently recorded, and dubbed biogoose. Perhaps the name diminishes the mystery somewhat, but the sounds themselves were far from ordinary. These weren't isolated events, no mere anomalies. They occurred repeatedly, with rhythmic regularity. Initially, some suspected a mechanical origin, given the predictable intervals. But exploring the ocean depths in the latter half of the 20th century was a daunting task, hampered by technological limitations. Nevertheless, driven by an unquenchable scientific curiosity, researchers relentlessly pursued data on these bioduck and biogoose sounds. As more data poured in, theories blossomed. Ultimately, the mystery began to unravel. Bioduck, it turned out, was a form of biological communication. Analyzing the repeating sounds, researchers observed a crucial detail. The signals never overlapped. One source would vocalize, then pause, allowing another to respond, a clear indication of structured communication. The question then became, which marine creature possessed such a sophisticated method using varied frequency sounds to communicate? The answer, as many suspected, lay with the whales. Scientists compared the bioduck sounds from Antarctica with the calls of minke whales, Balænoptera acuterostrata, and discovered striking resemblances. The biogoose sounds recorded off Australia and New Zealand likely originated from other whale species, or perhaps even young minke whales. But this discovery only deepened the enigma. What was the purpose of these underwater conversations? Were the whales discussing the best spots for krill, sharing a whale-sized joke at the expense of the human observers, or perhaps exchanging profound insights about the cosmos? The possibilities seemed limitless. The most astonishing revelation was the tantalizing prospect that humans might one day bridge the communication gap with these magnificent creatures. That day may be closer than we think. Scientists from the University of California have already made contact with a humpback whale, Megaptera novaeanglii, named Twain, in a groundbreaking experiment. Researchers engaged in a 20-minute exchange with this marine mammal. How did they achieve this? The team embarked on a marine expedition to the Alaskan coast, where they recorded the vocalizations of a group of humpback whales. These recordings were then played back through underwater speakers, sending the signals back into the ocean. The recorded sounds resembled a greeting, "Hey, what's up?" in whale language. Whales use such greetings to call to one another or to announce their location. Shortly after transmitting the signals, the researchers received a response. Twain approached the boat, circled it, and answered with a greeting of its own. This marked the beginning of the first documented human-whale conversation. Over the course of 20 minutes, the scientists sent 36 signals to Twain, and each time, the whale responded. Moreover, Twain seemed to understand the rhythm of conversation, waiting for specific intervals before replying. The team would send a signal, wait 10 seconds, and then transmit another. Twain mirrored this pattern, waiting approximately 10 seconds before responding. It seemed Twain was a remarkably considerate conversationalist, a true gentleman of the whale world. Or perhaps it was simply intrigued by this unprecedented interaction. The signals used in the communication belonged to a group of whales that included Twain. It's highly probable that the researchers had recorded Twain's own sounds and were, in effect, using them to communicate with the whale. In a sense, Twain was conversing with itself, a mirror image dialogue across the species barrier. Now let us continue our journey, diving into the deepest abyss on Earth, the Mariana Trench. As a quick reminder, the Mariana Trench is a colossal chasm in the ocean floor, stretching over 500 miles south of Japan. At its deepest point, it plunges to nearly 36,000 feet. To give you a sense of scale, imagine the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. Its height is only about 1/10 of the Mariana Trench's depth. Let's plunge into the inky blackness of the ocean's abyss. Imagine, in this realm of perpetual night, scientists pick up a bizarre sound, a sonic anomaly unlike anything natural. This isn't the call of any known creature, no whale song or dolphin click. This is something else entirely. A deep, guttural rumble echoes through the water, followed by a metallic ping, eerily reminiscent of the sound effects from classic science fiction films, like the sonar of an alien spaceship. Researchers, intrigued and baffled, christen this strange phenomenon biotwang. The first detection of this strange sound occurred in 2014 during an acoustic survey of the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth. After analysis, the source was identified. Whales, specifically bride's whales, Balænoptera adeni. Using sophisticated artificial intelligence algorithms, researchers sifted through a staggering 200,000 hours of audio recordings from the ocean depths, finally finding matches within the vocalizations of a group of bride's whales. Like other marine mammals, These whales use a wide array of sounds as a crucial form of communication across vast distances. But what other mysteries lurk in the crushing depths? What else has been discovered at the bottom of the Mariana Trench? A plastic bottle. No, it wasn't left behind by a kraken or some other mythical sea monster. The reality, as always, is far more mundane and disheartening. The bottle ended up there because of human pollution, a somber reminder of our impact on even the most remote environments. But that's a story for another time. Let's turn our attention to another sonic enigma, a sound far removed from the calls of whales. This one originates from the loneliest place on Earth. This place is called Point Nemo, a fitting moniker for such an isolated location. Situated in the vast expanse of the South Pacific Ocean, Point Nemo represents the most remote spot from any landmass on our planet. The nearest island lies a staggering 1,450 nautical miles away. To put that into perspective, that's about the same distance in all other directions. Moreover, this watery void is almost devoid of marine life, as few ocean currents reach this spot. Consequently, very few nutrients are supplied. It's essentially a marine desert, and so, in 1997, oceanographers recorded a truly bizarre and unsettling sound emanating from the depths in the vicinity of Point Nemo. It was something gigantic, something scary. The phenomenon was quickly dubbed the bloop. As soon as word of this reached the media, the public imagination exploded with fantastic theories. The most popular, and perhaps the most thrilling, was that the sound originated from a colossal sea monster, a kraken of legendary proportions, or some other undiscovered leviathan lurking in the abyss. The hype surrounding the bloop, however, was relatively short-lived. Scientists were eventually able to determine the true nature of the mysterious noise. It turned out the sound belonged to an iceberg. When these colossal masses of ice crack and fracture, they generate powerful ultra-low frequency sounds that can travel vast distances through the ocean. To confirm this hypothesis, scientists recorded the sounds of other icebergs and found the acoustic signature to be strikingly similar to the bloop. But the story of Point Nemo doesn't end there. This place is so remote that space agencies often use it as a dumping ground for decommissioned satellites. Space objects are intentionally crashed into the water here, with a 99% probability that no animal or human will be harmed by the falling debris in this desolate location. This is why many people refer to Point Nemo as the satellite cemetery. But what if, someday, a spaceship from another planet crashes here? What if one has already fallen into the waters of Point Nemo and occasionally emits an emergency signal that echoes through the ocean depths? All the mysteries you've heard about so far have ultimately been solved, explained by science and reason. But how about we conclude this journey into the unknown with a mystery that continues to baffle scientists to this day? Let's turn our attention to upsweep, one of the most enigmatic sounds ever recorded in the ocean. It's not just random noise, it's a series of distinct, sharp, ascending tones, repeated at intervals of several seconds. It was first detected in 1991 using hydrophones strategically placed in the Pacific Ocean. Initially, oceanographers speculated that upsweep might be linked to volcanic activity or underwater earthquakes. However, the seasonal nature of the sound, its intensity fluctuating with the time of year, effectively ruled out these geological explanations. Attention then turned to hypotheses involving the biological life of the ocean. Scientists explored the migration routes of marine animals and their behaviors at different times of the year, hoping to find a correlation. Yet, despite all these dedicated efforts, the source of upsweep remains stubbornly unidentified. Some studies suggest that upsweep may be imagined vast, icy landscapes stretching to the horizon. For years, scientists have speculated about mysterious sounds in the ocean depths, noises potentially linked to marine life, perhaps undiscovered species of fish or other creatures using sound for communication or even navigation. But conclusive proof has remained elusive until now. Now consider this. NASA, the agency synonymous with exploring the cosmos, stars, planets, galaxies, and the enigmatic black holes, also dedicates resources to unraveling mysteries right here on our home planet, Earth. Hard to believe, perhaps, but it's true. And what has NASA unearthed recently? A discovery that could rewrite our understanding of life itself. Beneath the seemingly barren ice of Antarctica, they found something extraordinary. This isn't just another scientific footnote. This discovery has the potential to reshape our understanding of Earth's interconnected water systems. Even more dramatically, it could provide crucial insights into the very nature of life, informing the search for life beyond our planet. The future of humankind might hinge on deciphering the secrets locked within Antarctica's frozen embrace. These recent revelations offer vital clues to our very survival. But before we delve deeper, let's test your knowledge of this seemingly desolate, ice-bound world. Antarctica, one of Earth's 7 continents, resides in the southern hemisphere. It ranks as the 5th largest continent, dwarfing Australia by nearly 2 times its size. And if you're a meteorite enthusiast, Antarctica is your ultimate destination. Its exceptionally dry climate creates ideal conditions for spotting space rocks. Imagine traversing the stark white expanse and stumbling upon a relic from another world. Scientists have already recovered approximately 45,000 meteorites from the Antarctic ice, and they estimate that perhaps 300,000 more remain hidden, waiting to be discovered. The scarcity of terrestrial rocks makes these dark-colored visitors from space relatively easy to identify. Furthermore, Antarctica's arid environment helps preserve these extraterrestrial artifacts, even those that plummeted to Earth over 1 million years ago. Volcanic activity in Antarctica. It seems paradoxical, a clash of fire and ice. Yet West Antarctica is a hotbed of volcanic activity. Recent surveys have identified a staggering 138 volcanoes lurking beneath the ice in West Antarctica alone. While most associate Antarctica with extreme cold, coastal regions can experience surprisingly mild temperatures, reaching up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But what if all the ice vanished? What would Antarctica look like beneath its frozen shell? It's a scenario difficult to fathom, but 34 million years ago, ice did not blanket the continent. While humans couldn't witness this era, NASA has stepped in to unveil the hidden landscape. Through sophisticated computer simulations, they've crafted the most accurate map of Antarctica's bedrock ever created. The results were astonishing. The continent isn't the flat, featureless expanse one might imagine, but a dynamic terrain sculpted with valleys, rolling plains, and towering mountains. But this was merely a prelude to an even more profound discovery beneath the ice. So, what did NASA find lurking in the depths of Antarctica? Drumroll, please. They discovered not one, but 2 new subglacial lakes. And here's the kicker. They spotted these hidden bodies of water from space. Incredible, isn't it? How did they manage such a feat? The answer, of course, lies in cutting-edge satellite technology. In 2003, NASA launched IceSat, a satellite designed to measure ice sheet mass balance and cloud and aerosol heights. This satellite also played a crucial role in creating that ice-free map of Antarctica we discussed earlier. Then, in 2010, the European Space Agency launched CryoSat-2, a satellite specifically tasked with tracking changes in ice thickness. Not to be outdone, NASA launched IceSat-2 in 2018, a successor to the original IceSat. This advanced spacecraft measured ice sheet elevation and sea ice thickness with unprecedented accuracy. Equipped with NASA's most advanced Earth-observing laser instrument, IceSat-2 delivered high-precision data. When combined with information gathered from the other satellites, it became possible to detect these 2 previously unknown lakes nestled near a pair of larger, established subglacial lakes. But how can these lakes exist beneath miles of ice? The average ice thickness in Antarctica is about 1.2 miles, but in some areas it can exceed 1.8 miles. Imagine a world of ice and snow, stretching as far as the eye can see. This is Antarctica, a land of extremes, where the secrets hidden beneath the frozen surface are only now beginning to be revealed. Especially during the long, dark winter months, you might assume there's nothing of interest beneath the seemingly endless ice. But science tells a different story. It's nearly impossible to perceive with the naked eye, but the entire continental ice sheet is in constant, albeit slow, motion. Under the immense force of its own weight, the ice flows in various directions. For many years, the mechanics of water movement under the ice remained a mystery to scientists. However, a breakthrough came in 2007 when data from ice-penetrating satellites offered a glimpse of what lay hidden below. What they discovered was astonishing. An entire network of meltwater lakes interconnected beneath Antarctica's rapidly flowing ice streams. Hundreds of these lakes exist, a hidden world teeming with potential secrets. Helen Amanda Fricker, a glaciologist at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, realized that elevation changes measured by ICESat, ice, cloud, and land elevation satellite, were directly linked to the dynamics of these subglacial lakes. These aren't static bodies of water. Instead, they undergo continuous cycles of filling and draining, connected by a network of subterranean waterways. As the lakes fill and empty, the ice sheet above rises and falls in response. And where does all that water ultimately drain? Into the ocean, of course, and in truly massive quantities. A recent study, co-authored by Fricker, revealed that the drainage of a single lake could flush as much as 198 billion gallons of water into the ocean in just 3 days. Countless mysteries about the inner workings of our planet remain unsolved, but the discovery of these new lakes offers scientists a clearer picture of how rapidly the Antarctic ice sheet will change as global temperatures rise. This, in turn, will help us understand the impact on global ocean currents and sea levels. The cyclical filling and draining of these lakes also causes the ice sheet above to fracture, creating cracks and crevasses. Information gleaned from these newly discovered lakes will provide a deeper understanding of the damage occurring on the surface of the ice. Scientists will also be able to assess how this filling and draining system influences the speed at which ice slips into the oceans and seas. This is crucial for evaluating how the influx of fresh water might alter delicate marine ecosystems. Perhaps most intriguingly, this discovery raises the tantalizing possibility of life existing beneath the ice. Scientists drilled through approximately 354 feet of ice and found that water samples taken from one of the lakes contained roughly 10,000 bacterial cells per milliliter. This high concentration of bacterial life is a promising sign, suggesting that these icy waters could potentially support more complex life forms, such as microscopic animals. One of these newly discovered lakes might even be their hidden habitat. But the most exciting prospect is that these lakes could provide insights into the potential for life on other planets. Scientists theorize that any life existing beneath the frozen surface of Mars might follow similar patterns to those observed in Antarctica's subglacial lakes. This means that the data gathered from these lakes could hold critical new information about the types of life that may have once existed, or perhaps still exist, on the Red Planet. You certainly wouldn't want to find yourself in Antarctica during the winter. The lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth was a chilling 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and even a relatively mild 18 degrees can feel far more brutal due to the strong, dry winds that relentlessly sweep across the continent. Did you know that the size of Antarctica's ice surface fluctuates dramatically throughout the year? During the summer months, it covers approximately 1.2 million square miles, but in the depths of winter, it expands to a staggering 7.3 million square miles. Despite this change, it remains the largest single mass of ice on our planet. Sorry, Arctic, you lose this round. And what about the iconic penguins? These charming creatures can be considered the true locals of Antarctica. Because there is no indigenous human population, it's essentially a no man's land, not owned by any single country. So who truly owns Antarctica? Perhaps the 5 different species of penguins, the seals, and the killer whales that call it home. Despite the continent's formidable conditions, it is possible to visit Antarctica as a tourist, for fishing, or for research purposes. Around 5,000 people reside on the continent during the summer months, stationed at various research facilities. But as winter approaches, imagine a world where the familiar coastlines we know are submerged, drowned beneath the relentless rise of the oceans. Antarctica, that vast frozen continent at the bottom of the world, holds the key. Its immense ice sheet locks away 70% of Earth's fresh water. If this colossal ice blanket were to melt entirely, global sea levels would surge upwards by nearly 200 feet. But Antarctica is so much more than just penguins and endless expanses of white. Beneath that icy surface lies a hidden world, a ghost of the past preserved in the deep freeze. Now, let's get our bearings. Don't confuse Antarctica with the Arctic, that icy realm at the top of our maps. The Arctic is smaller, less imposing, and frankly, lacks the sheer mystique of its southern counterpart. The ice sheet that smothers Antarctica is a staggering 1 to 3 miles thick. To put that into perspective, imagine stacking up Eiffel Towers, one on top of the other, until you reach a height of 16 Eiffel Towers. That's the scale of the ice concealing the true shape and features of the Antarctic landmass. We still know surprisingly little about this enigmatic continent, and it's the very ice and snow that obscures the truth. We can't even be entirely sure of the continent's precise shape and size. Mapping Antarctica is an incredibly difficult task, but thanks to modern technology, satellites have learned to peer beneath the icy veil, penetrating the frozen depths with their advanced cameras. What lies beneath is nothing short of breathtaking, an enormous, dramatic, ancient landscape, a ghost of a world from a time long before the ice. Rewind the clock 90 million years. Antarctica was a completely different place, a warm, verdant rainforest teeming with life. Lush vegetation carpeted the land, and rivers snaked their way through the landscape. Then, the Great Chill arrived. Around 34 million years ago, during the transition from the Eocene to the Oligocene epoch, our planet underwent a significant cooling. This marked the beginning of one of Earth's major ice ages. The land remained, but it was gradually entombed beneath layers of ice and snow that grew thicker and thicker with each passing millennium. To the casual observer, Antarctica transformed into a desolate white desert, a seemingly featureless expanse stretching to the horizon. Over vast stretches of time, the colossal ice sheet lumbered across the land, relentlessly smoothing and reshaping the terrain beneath its immense weight. Millions of years of glacial action altered the landscape. If we could somehow peel back the ice today, we would find little trace of that original pre-ice South Pole, except for one remarkable exception. In certain regions, particularly in East Antarctica, where the ice is exceptionally thick and relatively immobile, the opposite effect occurred. The ice acted as a super-insulated blanket, protecting the land beneath. Normally, wind and rain gradually erode the ground, sculpting and reshaping the landscape over time. But this protective ice shield prevented these natural processes from reaching the underlying rock. As a result, the ground in these areas remained almost unchanged for millions upon millions of years. It's as if time stood still, freezing the landscape in a prehistoric tableau. This special area, nestled near the Aurora and Schmidt subglacial basins, has become a window into Antarctica's lost world, a ghostly echo of a time before the ice. It's a historical footprint, a place that holds clues to what Antarctica looked like before it became a frozen wasteland. As scientists have peered beneath the ice of East Antarctica, they have glimpsed an astonishing sight: the ghostly traces of ancient rivers that once flowed across the land, a network of valleys, strange, isolated islands, and 3 massive formations shaped like the letter U. What could have created these U-shaped landforms? The answer lies in the Earth's restless geology. The continents we know are not fixed in place. They are constantly drifting, sliding across the molten rock of the Earth's mantle, like cereal on milk. Over vast stretches of geological time, they have collided and separated, forming and reforming supercontinents. Hundreds of millions of years ago, many of the continents we know today were joined together in a single enormous landmass called Gondwana. Antarctica was part of this supercontinent, but as Gondwana began to break apart, Antarctica was stretched and deformed by immense tectonic forces. Parts of the land were pulled away from each other, torn asunder by the Earth's internal stresses. This is how those massive U-shaped blocks of land were formed, now hidden beneath thick layers of ice. Scientists are eager to explore this frozen ghost world in greater detail. But to truly understand it, they need to drill down through the ice, like using a giant straw to reach the bottom of a very cold, very ancient milkshake. Imagine explorers drilling deep into the Antarctic ice, not just to find rocks and dirt, but to unlock secrets of Earth's ancient history and climate. Antarctica, the 5th largest continent, dwarfs Europe or Australia and rivals South America in size. It's a realm of frozen mysteries, with the Antarctic Peninsula, the South Pole, West Antarctica, and the Ross Sea forming its icy domains. This isn't just a barren wasteland, it's a frozen sandbox hiding a landscape more unexplored than the surface of Mars. Beneath the ice, a world of towering mountains, deep canyons, and even active volcanoes awaits discovery. Some volcanoes are so colossal that they pierce through the snow, revealing their fiery peaks. West Antarctica alone harbors at least 138 volcanoes, with a handful still active today. Consider Mount Erebus, the southernmost volcano and the continent's tallest, soaring over 12,000 feet. Deep within its icy embrace lie stunning, subvolcanic caves where temperatures rise enough to wear a t-shirt. The Antarctic Peninsula, or Lesser Antarctica, resembles a chain of mountainous islands with its volcanic rocks linked to the Pacific Ring of Fire, a massive circle of volcanic and seismic activity. Greater Antarctica, nearly the size of Australia, encompasses East Antarctica and the South Pole. Beneath the ice lies a foundation of ancient rocks, including the special zone we mentioned. While Antarctica is virtually devoid of human presence, with average temperatures plummeting to 46 degrees, life tenaciously clings to existence, especially in the hidden underworld. In 2017, scientists unearthed DNA traces of algae, moss, and potentially unknown small animals within the deep caves. This reveals that even in these extreme conditions, unique ecosystems thrive in isolated warm pockets beneath the snow. Another remarkable discovery occurred beneath Antarctica's Ross Ice Shelf, a vibrant ecosystem flourishing within an underground river. For years, scientists suspected the presence of freshwater lakes and rivers beneath Antarctica. A satellite image revealed a groove, prompting exploration. Using a hot water drill, they melted through the ice and lowered a camera into one of these concealed rivers. Initially expecting to find only rocks, they were astonished to encounter hundreds of amphipods, tiny shrimp-like creatures. These little crustaceans swarmed the lens, momentarily obscuring the view, but confirming the existence of a significant ecosystem deep within Antarctica. Exploration is now underway to unravel its mysteries. But this is just the beginning of what is hidden beneath the ice. The Antarctic snow also conceals the deepest canyon on Earth, hidden beneath the Denman Glacier. While the Mariana Trench remains the deepest point on Earth, it's part of the oceanic crust geologically. And in 1958, explorers discovered a vast mountain range beneath the ice, rivaling the Alps in size and height. This range stretches for approximately 745 miles, with peaks reaching up to 17,000 feet, all buried beneath tons of ice. Who knows what other wonders lie hidden beneath the ice? Antarctica holds approximately 60% of our planet's freshwater reserves, so its stability is paramount. Imagine a colossal ice formation, the Thwaites Glacier, a frozen giant roughly the size of Florida itself. But this icy behemoth is in peril, melting at an alarming rate. Each year, the world's sea levels creep upward by 4% due to its gradual demise. Should this entire glacier vanish, a catastrophic event would unfold. Sea levels across the globe would surge by 2 feet. While that may not immediately sound devastating, the impact on coastal regions would be immense. Fortunately, researchers have uncovered a glimmer of hope. Even if the ice shelf supporting Thwaites were to collapse within the next half-century, the glacier's retreat wouldn't be as swift as initially feared. It continues to shed ice at a concerning pace, but the overall process would unfold over a significantly longer time frame. Now, picture a sleek, cutting-edge submarine named RAN, deployed to explore the enigmatic depths of Antarctica. But its mission took an unforeseen turn. After uncovering something extraordinary, RAN mysteriously vanished. What could have happened? The story begins with scientists yearning to explore one of Earth's most isolated and mysterious realms, the Dotson Ice Shelf in West Antarctica. This silent, imposing giant stretches a staggering 30 miles in width, nearly the length of New York City. It stands sentinel between the Martin and Bear Peninsulas, concealing a hidden world brimming with geological enigmas. Contrary to the perception of Antarctica as a desolate expanse of snow and ice, a complex landscape lies hidden beneath. The underside of the Dotson Ice Shelf is a dynamic, rugged terrain sculpted by the slow, inexorable forces of nature. Towering ice formations, deep troughs, and bizarre structures extend for hundreds of feet. Understandably, exploring this hidden realm presents significant challenges. To glean insights, scientists have relied on satellite imagery and painstaking drilling through the ice, piecing together the bigger picture bit by bit. However, these methods only offered vague glimpses. The real breakthrough arrived with the concept of deploying submarines for exploration. Autonomous submersibles could plunge into the icy waters beneath the Dotson ice shelf, providing invaluable data. These robotic explorers are equipped with sophisticated sonar systems, mimicking the echolocation abilities of bats and dolphins. These systems emit sound waves underwater. When those waves encounter an object, such as the ice shelf above or the seafloor below, they bounce back to the system. By analyzing the time it takes for the sound waves to return and how they change, the system can determine the location and characteristics of objects. Dolphins, for example, use clicks to locate fish. We've essentially copied this evolutionary marvel and adapted it for underwater exploration, creating a far more advanced and precise system. This technology allows us to construct detailed maps of the environment. The Ran submarine was one such robotic explorer, named after the Norse goddess of the sea. Meticulously programmed to navigate the treacherous Antarctic landscape, Ran's journey ultimately led to an unexpected and unsettling conclusion. In 2019, Ran was dispatched to explore the depths beneath the Dotson ice shelf, a pioneering mission into the unknown. The team likened it to glimpsing the far side of the moon. For 27 continuous days, Ran tirelessly traversed over 620 miles beneath the thick ice, a distance comparable to a journey from Paris to Berlin. Ran ventured further and deeper than anyone had previously imagined. At one point, it penetrated over 10 miles into the glacier's interior. The discoveries made in that alien realm were astonishing. Scientists had anticipated smooth, uniform ice surfaces, but Ran revealed an underside scarred by colossal cracks and ridges. There were formations resembling sand dunes frozen in time. And finally, Ran encountered mysterious swirling and teardrop-shaped patterns, unlike anything seen before. Imagine a world where art and geology intertwine. This is the story of Antarctic ice shelves, where warm ocean currents play a mysterious role. These waters creep beneath the ice, melting it from below. Sometimes this process smooths the ice, but often it carves strange, uneven shapes, patterns, and drawings etched onto the frozen landscape. And these shapes are colossal, some stretching over being 300 feet in length. That's the equivalent of 3.5 football fields. The swirling, doodle-like appearance is no accident. The Earth's rotation influences the water's movement, bending and shaping it into spirals. This is the Coriolis effect. Picture yourself on a merry-go-round, attempting to throw a ball. It wouldn't travel in a straight line, but rather a curve. The same principle governs the water's flow on our planet. Later explorations revealed similar patterns beneath other Antarctic ice shelves, although none matched the sheer scale of those under the Dotson ice shelf. But the robotic submarine Ran also uncovered a terrifying truth. These warm waters, while creating stunning art, pose a grave danger. The Dotson ice shelf isn't merely a serene floating platform. It's a crucial component of a fragile ecosystem. It acts as a protective barrier, holding back immense glaciers in West Antarctica. The ice shelf floats upon the ocean, yet remains anchored to the land. As warm water infiltrates its underbelly, melting the ice, the Dotson's grip on the land weakens. This protective barrier falters, allowing the glaciers behind it to surge more rapidly into the ocean. As these glaciers pour into the sea, they increase the water volume, potentially causing sea levels to rise and dramatically reshape our coastlines. Ran stumbled upon vast pockets where the ice was melting at alarming speeds, all thanks to powerful underwater currents. It was like witnessing a ticking time bomb beneath the glacier. The stakes were incredibly high, but fortunately the submarine was up to the task. It successfully returned and continued its work for another 5 years, providing scientists with invaluable data. These missions were fraught with peril. There were stretches where Ran plunged into the pitch-black abyss beneath the glaciers, enduring 24-hour periods without communication. but it meticulously mapped every peak and valley, accumulating vast experience from over 40 missions beneath the ice. Then, in early 2024, RAN embarked on a mission to the Thwaites Glacier. This mission was audacious from the outset. This place is ominously known as the Doomsday Glacier. It bears this name because it is relentlessly melting, holding the potential to raise sea levels worldwide if it were to collapse, triggering widespread catastrophe. Therefore, RAN was deployed to explore its underbelly, a realm never before mapped with such detail. The objective was to unlock the glacier's secrets, to understand the rate at which it was melting and the underlying causes. This marked RAN's second expedition to Thwaites. During its previous visit, it became the first submersible to ever map the glacier's underside. RAN explored depths ranging from 650 feet to 1,750 feet, transmitting a wealth of data on how the Doomsday Glacier was gradually succumbing to warm ocean currents. But while venturing into these icy depths, disaster struck. Without warning, RAN vanished without a trace. One moment it was relaying crucial data, the next it had slipped into the abyss. No distress signals, no final transmission, and no return to its designated point. Extensive searches were launched, helicopters scoured the skies, drones buzzed through the frozen expanse, but no sign of the submersible emerged from the glacier's grasp. After a period, RAN's batteries would inevitably fail, confirming its fate, swallowed by the abyss beneath 1,500 feet of ice. This was a profound and heartbreaking loss for the scientific community. The scientists at the University of Gothenburg are now determined to replace RAN and continue its vital work. Their vital research endeavors near the Thwaites Glacier. Even now, the fate of that missing probe remains a perplexing enigma. Did it become hopelessly ensnared within the icy grip of the Antarctic? Was it swept away by an unseen, powerful current lurking beneath the frozen surface? Or perhaps did it meet with an unforeseen collision, a cosmic accident in the vast emptiness under the ice? Whatever the truth may be, its mysterious disappearance has left the SST team in a state of bewilderment. It seems the ice shelf is determined to keep its secrets locked away, at least for the moment. But all is not lost. RAN's daring journey yielded a treasure trove of invaluable data, and scientists continue their tireless exploration of Antarctica, driven by the hope of unearthing the hidden history buried beneath the snow and ice. Imagine, if you will, traveling back 90 million years. Here, near the South Pole, a vibrant, lush, temperate rainforest thrived. This discovery revealed an ancient world far warmer than anyone had dared to imagine. Deep within the Antarctic landscape, researchers unearthed fossilized roots, pollen, and spores, perfectly preserved within the ancient soil. This astonishing find paints a picture of a swampy rainforest, teeming with life, flourishing despite enduring months of polar darkness. These groundbreaking discoveries have forever altered our understanding of Earth's climate, both in the distant past and what it potentially could be in the future. Now, feast your eyes on this seemingly ordinary rock. At first glance, it appears unremarkable, the kind you might easily overlook while strolling along a beach. Its color is muted, its weight a standard 4 pounds, nothing to write home about. But everything transforms when you learn the truth. This rock was born on Mars, journeyed across the vast gulf of space, and ultimately came to rest in Antarctica. Suddenly, its story becomes utterly captivating. Let's delve into the details. Researcher Roberta Score, a key member of the ANSMET project, that's the Antarctic Search for Meteorites, a program of the Denver Antarctic Program, unearthed this extraordinary meteorite in 1984. Eager to decipher the space traveler's cryptic name? It's derived from the location of its discovery, the Allen Hills of Antarctica, hence ALH. This is then followed by the year of discovery and the sample number. If you envision Roberta triumphantly hoisting the rock aloft, exclaiming, "Eureka! I found a Martian fragment!" prepare for a slight disappointment. Initially, the meteorite's origin remained shrouded in mystery. Adding to the confusion, its composition differed significantly from other meteorite groups previously found on Earth. So how did scientists ultimately determine its Martian provenance? The answer lies in traces of gas trapped within the rock, bearing a striking resemblance to the gases that constitute the atmosphere of the red planet. We gained detailed knowledge of this atmospheric composition thanks to the intrepid Viking lander, which conducted crucial in situ analysis way back in 1976. Returning to our rocky discovery, it holds immense significance, not merely for its extraterrestrial origins. Among the thousands of meteorites recovered on Earth, only a select few, around 100, are believed to have originated from Mars. Even within this rare group, our specimen stands apart, seemingly belonging to a distinct and separate category. Let's journey back in time, tracing the life story of this cosmic wanderer. Its formation likely occurred approximately 4 billion years ago on its home world Mars. One day, seemingly no different from any other, proved to be a pivotal turning point for this unassuming rock. A cataclysmic asteroid impact propelled it into the depths of space, initiating its solitary voyage as a diminutive asteroid. At that time, it was significantly larger than when it was discovered on Earth. At some point, ALH drew near to Earth, perhaps drawn by an irresistible curiosity. About 13,000 years ago, it concluded its epic space odyssey with a dramatic collision with our planet. Currently, this Martian fragment represents the oldest piece of Mars we possess. Yet initially, it garnered little attention. It wasn't until 1996 that it achieved widespread recognition following a groundbreaking discovery. NASA researchers began to ponder, could this ancient fragment harbor traces of past Martian life, evidence of organisms that may have thrived on Mars during its formation? Those scientists, as it turned out, were on the verge of a momentous revelation. Imagine traveling back in time, not millions of years, but to just 20:48 minutes and 20 seconds into our own present. At that moment, scientists made a fascinating discovery. They had detected traces of incredibly fine magnetite particles. The structure and chemical composition of these particles were eerily similar to those we find right here on Earth. These are known as magnetofossils, produced by magnetotactic bacteria. Could this mean that, at some point in the distant past, life existed on Mars? Then, just a short time later, in April 2020, scientists from the Japanese Space Agency unveiled another intriguing find. They detected nitrogen-containing organic material of Martian origin within a meteorite. What astounding secrets might further examination of these meteorites reveal? At the moment, the best we can do is journey to Antarctica and search for more of these cosmic travelers. Antarctica, surprisingly, is a treasure trove for meteorite hunting. Nearly 50,000 meteorites have already been discovered on this icy continent, and hundreds of thousands more are waiting to be found. Each of these space rocks holds a piece of the puzzle, telling a story of the evolution of our solar system. For example, the very first lunar rock found on this deserted continent proved that chunks of space objects, even larger than asteroids, can indeed end up on Earth. Now, let's imagine you're inspired to embark on your own meteorite hunting expedition to Antarctica. Be prepared for some serious challenges. Despite their potential abundance, finding these space rocks isn't as simple as it seems. You'll need to venture into remote and unforgiving areas, and even then, there's no guarantee you'll spot a meteorite. This is becoming a huge problem, as meteorites are vanishing from sight. Currently, scientists discover about 1,000 meteorites in Antarctica each year. However, a recent study reveals that approximately 5,000 more are being hidden from view annually. The culprit? Rising temperatures. Worried scientists have created a complex model to help predict where these meteorites might resurface. This model takes into account a multitude of factors, including snow cover, surface temperature, the speed of ice flow, and even the steepness of the terrain. After running simulations under various warming scenarios, the results were clear. Meteorites were indeed sinking out of sight as temperatures increased. The researchers were understandably upset. They hadn't anticipated that climate change would so drastically impact their work, ruining what is essentially a crucial archive of our solar system's history. But let's get back to your meteorite hunt. To increase your chances of success, head to the base of mountains or outcrops. Here, the ice, which typically flows to lower ground, is forced to move upward. And don't forget your windbreaker. In these locations, powerful winds sweep away the snow, exposing bright, vivid blue ice. Instead of melting, this ancient ice transforms directly into water vapor, a process called sublimation. This helps reveal meteorites that would otherwise remain hidden beneath the surface. You need to hurry, though. Meteorites on the surface disappear quickly, even when temperatures are well below freezing. The rocks can still absorb some of the sun's heat and melt the surrounding ice. It's as if they're creating underground, or rather, under-ice tunnels for themselves, sinking and hiding from sight. Sometime later, refreezing seals the entrance to these tunnels, effectively trapping the meteorites inside, tucked safely out of sight. Now, scientists admit that finding effective methods to spot these meteorites is proving very tricky. If we don't act quickly to develop such methods, we risk losing between 80,000 and 250,000 space rocks in total. It's no wonder scientists are on a mission to find more meteorites, focusing on meteorite stranding zones. These are specific locations where meteorites tend to gather on the surface due to unique geological features, ice flow patterns, and climate conditions. As you now know, you can often find meteorites on blue ice, free from snow cover. This makes them far easier to spot, but finding such hotspots. Imagine a quest for cosmic treasures hidden beneath the icy expanse of Antarctica. Often, finding these extraterrestrial visitors comes down to sheer luck or countless hours spent poring over maps and satellite images, desperately seeking those telltale patches of blue ice. But now, picture this. A team of dedicated researchers, led by the brilliant glaciologist Veronica Tolina, has revolutionized the hunt. They've crafted a smart, continent-wide map, a veritable treasure map for meteorite hunters. How? Through the power of machine learning and a vast trove of satellite data gleaned from NASA, the Canadian Space Agency, and other global partners. This remarkable map pinpoints the most promising locations where meteorites might be lurking, based on a combination of past discoveries and a wealth of climate and ice data. The sweet spots, it turns out, are often along the edges of the continent and near imposing mountains, graced with fields of blue ice. But it's not just the presence of blue ice that matters. The temperature and the very speed of the ice flow play crucial roles. If the ice surges too quickly, any meteorites are swept away before they have a chance to accumulate, lost to the vast frozen wilderness. To successfully unearth a meteorite, one must patiently await a confluence of precise conditions. The surface temperature must remain below a frigid 16 degree almost constantly. Otherwise, these precious space rocks risk sinking into the ice, disappearing from sight. A prime starting point for any aspiring meteorite hunter is the Allen Hills region. This area is practically a meteorite goldmine, yielding over 1,000 finds. But even more alluring locations exist, such as the remote and unexplored Fimbulhamen Mountains. Imagine being the first to set foot there, the first to lay eyes on meteorites untouched for millennia. With this groundbreaking new map, researchers have developed a where-to-go index, ranking the most promising meteorite hunting spots. This will make future expeditions far more targeted and efficient. And with vast swaths of blue ice regions still unexplored, countless meteorites are out there, just waiting to be discovered. What are you waiting for? The adventure of a lifetime awaits. Now, cast your gaze upon what appears to be lush, coniferous forests and sprawling tundra. You might be forgiven for thinking you've stumbled into the heart of Canada, but you'd be mistaken. This is Antarctica, a staggering 34 million years ago. What transformed Antarctica into the icy wilderness we know today? It was a dramatic combination of plummeting carbon dioxide levels and significant tectonic shifts that conspired to turn this once ice-free paradise into the frozen continent. Around 50 million years ago, CO2 concentrations were soaring, reaching levels of 1,000 to 2,000 parts per million. But as these levels began to plummet, global temperatures followed suit, paving the way for the colossal ice sheets that would eventually engulf Antarctica. While this dramatic CO2 dive was underway, tectonic activity was also reshaping the world. The momentous split between South America and Antarctica gave birth to the Drake Passage, which in turn spawned the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. This powerful current acted as a formidable barrier, preventing warm air and ocean currents from reaching Antarctica, effectively locking it in a perpetual deep freeze. If you sometimes confuse Australia and Antarctica, you're not entirely off base. These two continents were once joined as one. Now behold this magnificent Australian pink beach. It's not just beautiful, it's precious, and not just figuratively. Those mesmerizing pinkish sands are actually composed of garnet, a mineral widely used in jewelry. Geologists studying these sands have made a startling discovery. The garnet they contain is older than the local mountains. How can this be? The answer lies in Australia's ancient past. Millions of years ago, Australia and Antarctica were part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Glacial erosion released the garnet, which was then carried by water and wind to its final resting place on the beach. These sands formed when South Australia was a flat, tranquil landscape, long before the emergence of the mountains. While most garnet is eventually washed away, this particular batch boasts a rich history, tracing its origins back to glacial rocks in Antarctica. Imagine the vast, icy expanse of Antarctica, a continent shrouded in mystery and secrets. Beneath its frozen surface lies a landscape of hidden wonders, including the Transantarctic Mountains. Here, the pink sand originates from an ancient mountain range, a geological relic concealed beneath miles of ice. But the Antarctic ice hides more than just pink sand. It holds gems, literally. Look closely, and you might find garnets scattered across the icy plains. And if you look even closer, you might find entire buildings. It sounds like the stuff of legends, but a British explorer named Chris Brown actually uncovered a structure beneath the ice. Brown's journey began with a stroke of bad luck. While traveling to the pole of inaccessibility, Chris and his son experienced a mechanical failure, leaving their plane grounded. But then, a strange sight caught their eye. A lone bust protruding from the snow. This was an abandoned meteorological station, a relic of a bygone era. Despite the freezing temperatures, Chris and his son, Micah, explored the site. Chris is on a mission to conquer all 7 earthbound poles of inaccessibility and has already tackled 5. Antarctica, as you likely know, is the largest desert on Earth, dwarfing even the Sahara. Yet despite being the driest continent, it is home to one of the world's strangest waterfalls, nestled in the McMurdo Dry Valleys. This 5-story cascade appears to gush blood, earning it the name Blood Falls. The crimson color isn't some supernatural phenomenon, it's a result of a unique geological process. The water that feeds Blood Falls was once part of a salty lake, sealed off from the outside world by glaciers. Trapped 300 feet below the surface, the water became incredibly saline, 3 times saltier than the ocean. This water is also rich in iron and devoid of oxygen and sunlight. When the iron-rich water seeps through a crack in the glacier and meets the air, it rusts, turning a dark blood-red hue. You may have heard that no insects inhabit Antarctica, but that's not entirely accurate. The Antarctic midge, a tiny, resilient insect, calls this frozen continent home. And there are spiders, too. These aren't your average household spiders. These are creatures lurking in the frigid depths of the Antarctic ocean floor. These marine arthropods can grow up to 20 inches across. Adding to their strangeness, they breathe through tiny holes in their legs. What color do you most associate with Antarctica? White, most likely. But at times, Antarctica can resemble a slice of watermelon. This colorful snow is thanks to a hardy algae called Chlamydomonas nivalis. As temperatures rise during the Antarctic summer, these algae release vibrant red and green spores, painting the snow in striking colors. But be warned, this colorful snow is toxic and definitely not edible. Searching for fossils is always an adventure, but it's even more thrilling in one of the most remote places on Earth. Recently, a team of scientists struck paleontological gold, unearthing over a ton of fossils from ancient marine life, dinosaurs, and birds dating back to the late Cretaceous period, around 71 million years ago. Their adventure began with a flight to South America, followed by a 5-day journey through the infamous Drake Passage. Upon reaching Antarctica, they established a camp and used helicopters and inflatable boats to navigate the icy terrain. Why dig for fossils in Antarctica with all that ice? It turns out that certain areas have exposed rock, depending on the season. The team focused on James Ross Island, located in the Antarctic Peninsula, during February and March. This is one of the few regions where rocks are exposed during the Antarctic summer, revealing formations from the age of dinosaurs. The expedition proved to be a resounding success, yielding over a ton of remarkable fossil finds. These precious discoveries will now be transported to Chile, where they will be carefully studied. Imagine paleontologists making their way to the esteemed Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh. Among their groundbreaking discoveries, they unearthed relics dating back approximately 71 million years, alongside others around 67 million years old. The finds included a plethora of snails, clams, and various marine creatures, offering a glimpse into ancient marine ecosystems. But hold on, what's this? A truly creepy sea worm emerges from the depths. This particular specimen looks like it could easily star in a horror movie, yet it calls the chilly waters of the Southern Ocean near Antarctica its home. These segmented worms belonging to the class Polychaeta can grow up to 8 inches long and 4 inches wide. But don't let their spooky exterior fool you. Research suggests they might actually be superheroes in disguise, playing a vital role in keeping these icy ecosystems thriving. And that head? It's not really a head at all, but rather a retractable throat that helps this toothy creature chow down on its meals. Antarctica, it seems, has many such bizarre critters to offer. Let me introduce you to the Antarctic strawberry feather star. It's not quite Patrick Star from SpongeBob, mind you. It's more like a deep-sea creature straight out of a horror film. Picture this, 20 wiggly arms, some stretching up to 8 inches, all decked out with bizarre little bumps. Indeed, a sight to behold. Or perhaps to avoid. Now, back in 2014, scientists buried 34 seismic monitors in the snow on the Ross Ice Shelf, a colossal expanse of ice. Think of it as an ice lab the size of Texas, just chilling over the Southern Ocean. These clever little machines picked up a nearly non-stop buzzing, a sound that our human ears usually can't detect due to its low frequency. But scientists worked their magic, amplifying the sounds and making them audible for us. They even shared the creepy audio online. A glaciologist from the University of Chicago explained that if you could hear this vibration naturally, it would sound like a swarm of cicadas taking over your backyard in late summer. But these glacier explorers weren't trying to capture spooky tunes. They were actually on a mission to monitor the Ross Ice Shelf because things are heating up, literally, and the ice is melting faster than ice cream on a hot summer day. Ice shelves are like Earth's safety plugs, keeping all that massive glacial ice from surging into the ocean and raising sea levels. So what exactly is making all that noise? It's likely just strong winds whipping across the ice surface, creating a kind of natural vibration, a constant hum in the frozen landscape. Now, shift your focus. When you mention your plans to travel to Tristan da Cunha, the chances are your friends won't even know where this remote island is located. No wonder Tristan da Cunha is considered the most remote inhabited archipelago in the world, with the nearest populated land, St. Helena, around 1,500 miles away. There are only 229 people living on Tristan da Cunha. In such a close-knit community, everyone is someone's cousin, uncle, or perhaps just a friend. But everyone knows each other, for sure. There are as few as 10 last names on the island, representing just 10 families. Getting there is quite an adventure. There are no airports on the island, which means your journey will be primarily by sea. Typically, it requires a 6-day-long voyage from South Africa. Only 3 ships regularly service the island, with fewer than a dozen trips each year. Some cruise lines may include it in their itineraries, but travel arrangements must be made well in advance due to limited berths available on the ship from Cape Town. And you'll also need landing permission. While Tristan doesn't have traditional hotels, there are several guest houses, and you might also have the chance to stay with a local family. They will provide you with a place to sleep, 3 meals a day, and laundry services. A staggering 88% of what you pay goes directly to the island family, and only 12% is taxed, by the way. The accommodation is surprisingly affordable. It was around, and yes, in 2024, A full board will set you back around 65 pounds sterling. They do indeed use sterling, since it's part of an overseas British territory. But there's also a local currency at play here, the St. Helena pound, pegged at parity with sterling. Interestingly, it's only been about 80 years since the islanders started using actual money. Back in 1942, the naval station began paying wages in cash, which helped the Tristan Islanders transition from a barter economy to a cash-based system. Imagine the novelty of making their very first cash purchases. A word to the wise: pack absolutely everything you might need before you embark on this journey. You certainly won't find a Walmart here. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a supermarket of sorts, but it's nothing like what you're accustomed to, with its endless shelves groaning under the weight of oversized mayonnaise jars. Tristan's island store, often simply referred to as the supermarket, lacks the plate glass windows and flashy advertisements of modern retail. Let's be honest, from the outside, it resembles an abandoned barn. Yet it plays a crucial role in providing essential goods that complement the locally produced foods and wool. If a resident desires something, they must place their orders months in advance for items that arrive on incoming ships. The store operates Monday through Friday. Today, the islanders continue to cultivate their own crops and raise livestock. The supermarket has become a vital source for other essentials, like flour, sugar, and a variety of groceries, including frozen bread and products typical of UK or South African supermarkets. And even though the island's economy relies heavily on fishing, especially for rock lobsters, the islanders are largely self-sufficient. Now, let's journey to another destination that's incredibly difficult to reach, but this time, we're taking the challenge to a whole new level. I'm talking about the infamous Hypoxia City, the place with the smallest amount of oxygen on the planet. Hypoxia City is just a nickname, of course. The real name is La Rinconada. This city is perched high in the Peruvian Andes. Getting there involves a grueling climb of over 16,000 feet. What else would you expect from the highest city on Earth? Despite its extreme inaccessibility, it houses far more people than Tristan da Cunha, between 30,000 and 50,000 souls. And while that remote island in the middle of nowhere exudes an idyllic charm, the Peruvian city of La Rinconada presents a vastly different picture. The urban layout is dominated by low-rise dwellings where essential services are severely limited. La Rinconada lacks a reliable supply of running water and a functioning sewage system. The community also lacks a waste collection service, forcing residents to either burn or bury their garbage. Moreover, until the early 2000s, La Rinconada did not even have access to electricity. Most goods, including the most basic foodstuffs, must be trucked in from outside. Despite originally being a small mining town, it now boasts a wider range of activities to sustain its population. Some residents are busy trading food and clothing, while others provide services. Some have even opened public restrooms. Architecturally speaking, La Rinconada has very little to offer. The scene is quite predictable: huts constructed from corrugated metal, unstable and rusting. The choice of materials is dictated by practicality. These metal sheets are the lightest and easiest for miners to transport up to the glacier. Unfortunately, the homes lack proper insulation, leaving residents shivering in the cold. Even though they have access to wool from local sheep, an excellent insulator, sturdier rock homes are rare, typically inhabited by wealthier miners. While the architecture might not be particularly captivating, the vistas certainly are. Nearly every spot in La Rinconada offers breathtaking views. But now, a glance upwards reveals La Rinconada, often called Sleeping Beauty, a massive sprawling settlement that clings to the mountainside. This city, a glacier tower of human endeavor, dominates the landscape, but reaching it is no simple feat. To begin your journey, you'll need to secure a flight into Alejandro Velasco Astete International Airport in Cusco, Peru. From the historical city of Cusco, a train or bus awaits to carry you onward to Puno, a city nestled beside the vast expanse of Lake Titicaca. Here's where the adventure truly begins, and the path becomes less defined. The only reliable means of ascending to La Rinconada is often by hitchhiking or securing a ride with locals heading into the mountains. While buses may exist, their schedules are unpredictable, operating outside the constraints of timetables. For the daring, renting a car is an option, but be warned, the roads are notoriously rough, twisting, and challenging to navigate. Extra caution is not just advised, it's essential for this leg of the journey. Unlike Tristan da Cunha, which embraced a unique cashback system in the 1940s, La Rinconada's economy revolves almost entirely around gold mining. These mines are largely unguarded, unregulated, and frequently dangerous. Miners toil for 30 days under a cachorreo system. On the 31st day, they are granted the right to extract as much ore from the mine as they can physically carry. This serves as their compensation. While La Rinconada lacks a formal bank, numerous storefront fund transfer agencies facilitate the wiring of earnings to miners' families. Yet, the amount they'll be able to send home remains uncertain until that final day. Our next destination is Longyearbyen, a place that might initially appear unwelcoming due to its Arctic climate. However, the locals extend a warm embrace to all. No visa is required to visit or even work here. Situated near the top of the world, Longyearbyen offers a unique and remote charm. The capital, Longyearbyen, is home to a fascinatingly diverse community, boasting over 50 nationalities among its 2,400 residents. You might even spot a polar bear venturing into town on occasion. Living space is compact. There is only one grocery store, and streets are identified by numbers rather than names, adding to the town's distinctive character. Longyearbyen also features a university center with around 300 students. Interestingly, every student must learn to use firearms for protection against the wildlife in the surrounding wilderness. Originally established as a mining town, much like La Rinconada, Longyearbyen has largely transitioned to tourism. However, a unique tradition persists from its mining past. Visitors and residents alike remove their shoes upon entering hotels and restaurants, a practice born from the need to keep coal dust at bay. The final destination for today is Palmerston Island, a remote coral atoll in the Cook Islands, situated approximately 290 miles northwest of Rarotonga. The famous explorer, James Cook, visited on June 16, 1774. The island was uninhabited at the time, despite the presence of ancient graves. Today, the island supports a small population of just 25 residents, primarily descendants of the 19th century English sailor William Marsters. Marsters arrived in 1863 with 2 Polynesian wives and later added a third, fathering 23 children. Fishing forms the backbone of the local economy, resembling a subsistence lifestyle due to the island's isolation. While modern amenities and communication services are available, there is no airport. Cargo ships visit periodically, providing essential supplies. So, what images spring to mind when you hear the word Antarctica? Most likely you envision a landscape of cold, snow, ice, and penguins. Yet, this remote continent, one of the least explored regions on Earth, conceals many strange and unique secrets. And you don't even have to travel to Antarctica to see one of these unusual features. All you need to do is open Google Earth and navigate to one of the southernmost islands of Antarctica, King George Island. Recently, internet users have noticed a large and rather strange cave entrance there. Where does this wide, dark passage lead? People have begun to speculate. Is it the entrance to something else? Imagine, nestled deep within the icy expanse of Antarctica, a secret. Is it the concealed entrance to a clandestine base, or perhaps the hidden doorway to an ancient laboratory? Some speculate it's a relic of a spaceship crashed millennia ago, now serving as a portal to a forgotten Antarctic city. Consider this, a colossal rock formation, a mountain of ice guarding a cave hidden beneath layers of snow. Calculations by keen observers suggest this cavern is immense, towering at approximately 74 feet in height and stretching 250 feet wide. Picture this. A Boeing passenger jet could easily be concealed within its icy jaws. The most plausible explanation points to nature's hand in sculpting this grand entrance. However, 2 peculiar details cast shadows of doubt on this simple answer. First, observe the base of the mountain. Do you see them? Steps. Dark in color, as if carved from stone. And if you look even closer, Faint impressions, almost like human footprints, mark their surface. Has someone or something ventured into this icy abyss? Could life, unknown to the modern world, still dwell within? The second enigma involves the entrance itself. It's a phantom, appearing and disappearing from satellite imagery. First spotted in a 2007 Google Maps snapshot, it vanished, only to reappear years later. Then, silence again, until 2022, when it was once more visible. Perhaps the cycle of melting snow and wind-blown ice creates this illusion. Yet, those alleged steps, leading into the darkness, hint at a more deliberate origin. You can explore this mystery yourself. The coordinates are readily available online, allowing you to virtually visit the cave via Google Earth. Peer into the shadows. Perhaps you'll uncover something extraordinary and share your findings with the world. And there's more. In 2020, another anomaly was discovered through Google Earth. A user stumbled upon a massive object resembling a ship lying on its side just 100 meters off the Antarctic coast. Trapped in ice and snow, it bore an uncanny resemblance to a cruise ship, complete with visible windows, a deck, and a bridge. Skepticism arose, of course. Some proposed it was a spacecraft, while others believed it to be a hidden structure. The original discoverer estimated its length at approximately 400 feet, fitting the dimensions of a passenger vessel. But the questions remain. What is a ship doing in this desolate, frozen realm? How did it arrive here? And who commands this ghost ship? The answers for now remain elusive. Even stranger tales emerge from the depths. In 2016, Google Earth users spotted what appeared to be an enormous sea monster lurking off the coast of Antarctica. This creature, resembling a colossal squid, Architeuthis dux, was estimated to be around 200 feet long. Imagine this kraken, a creature shorter than 3 train cars, gliding through the frigid dark waters, dragging anything it encounters to its doom. Could it be a descendant of the mythical Cthulhu, or perhaps one of its offspring? But not all Antarctic mysteries are hidden beneath the ice. Imagine a stark contrast against the white canvas of the Antarctic landscape. The blood falls. For centuries, this waterfall has painted the snow a vivid red. The stream originates from within a glacier. Millions of years ago, a small, pristine pond existed here. Over time, a glacier enveloped it, sealing it off from sunlight, heat, and oxygen for millennia. This reservoir remained in a frigid vacuum. Eventually, the water found a weak point in the ice wall and burst forth. Upon contact with oxygen, the iron-rich salt water oxidizes, instantly turning a striking scarlet or rusty hue. Antarctica offers a unique spectacle of nature. Yet, paradoxically, within this icy continent lies one of the driest places on Earth. The McMurdo Dry Valleys, a polar desert, stand as one of the most barren landscapes on the planet. Here, you won't find scorching sands or towering cacti. A desert, in its truest form, is defined by a lack of precipitation. In the harsh landscapes of our world, there exist places where precipitation is virtually non-existent. The McMurdo Dry Valleys in Antarctica stand out as a prime example, but they possess unique characteristics. Unlike other icy regions of Antarctica, you won't find glaciers here. Imagine, ice is unable to form in this desert environment due to the fact that it hasn't rained for literally millions of years. It's a place where snow is also a stranger. A powerful, relentless wind, born in the mountains, roars across the valleys at speeds reaching a staggering 200 mph. Just imagine trying to stand in the face of such a gale. This wind, though carrying moisture, turns into a force of evaporation. It heats up, greedily taking away any liquid and snow, ensuring that only the driest air touches the desert floor. Yet, defying expectations, several lakes dot this landscape. Their secret? An incredibly high concentration of salt. The water is so saturated that large life forms struggle to survive. However, even in this extreme environment, scientists have discovered microscopic organisms clinging to life near the edges. Think back millions of years, roughly 20 million years ago. Antarctica was a vastly different world, teeming with swamps, lush trees, and a vibrant ecosystem of insects and animals. Now, it bears a striking resemblance to the surface of Mars. Scientists and astronauts are drawn to regions like the McMurdo Dry Valleys because the conditions there mirror those on the Red Planet. It is almost like you can practice living in similar places on Earth before venturing to Mars. In another astonishing discovery, scientists uncovered an underwater world beneath the Antarctic ice, teeming with hundreds of amphipods, crustacean animals closely related to shrimp. Now let's clarify some geographical terms. The Antarctic is the region encompassing the southernmost part of our planet, including the continent of Antarctica. The Arctic, on the other hand, is an entirely different realm. While both share similar natural conditions, frost, ice, and snow, they are located at opposite ends of the Earth. The Arctic sits at the North Pole, while Antarctica claims the South Pole. Returning to the mysteries hidden beneath the ice, scientists have proposed theories suggesting a vast network of freshwater rivers and lakes lies concealed beneath the Antarctic ice. In 2022, they made a groundbreaking discovery, a new ecosystem thriving in this hidden world. Researchers explored the Antarctic Ross Ice Shelf, a colossal piece of ice floating majestically in the ocean, and its underwater rivers. A team from New Zealand employed a specialized drilling rig equipped with a hot water supply to bore a hole 1,040 feet deep, a depth exceeding the height of the Empire State Building. Lowering video cameras into this abyss, they witnessed thousands of crustaceans swimming in every direction. It certainly seems they're very unorganized in the waters of the Antarctic. But the waters surrounding Antarctica hold more than just tiny crustaceans. Here, you can encounter some of the most unsettling creatures on the planet. Sea spiders. These marine arthropods, though named for their resemblance to land spiders, are a distinct species. Unlike their terrestrial counterparts, sea spiders can grow to an enormous size. Imagine 8 strong legs, spanning the size of a dinner plate, with hardly any body to speak of. Some even lack eyes and possess proboscis instead of jaws. Sea spiders remain poorly understood due to their habitat in the deep, frigid waters of Antarctica. This icy continent guards many secrets. Long tunnels wind through its glaciers, leading into chilling darkness. Within this frozen realm, explorers have unearthed the remains of giant dinosaurs and other ancient creatures, including the ancestors of modern ducks. Countless underground rivers and lakes conceal unexplored wildlife. Even the ice itself can take on bizarre forms. Consider the striped icebergs, adorned with blue, black, green, and turquoise shapes. The color variations are dictated by the conditions of the water during freezing. For instance, green lines indicate the presence of algae, while blue hues emerge when the water freezes with exceptional speed. Okay, it's freezing. Time to go thaw somewhere. 8 seconds. And the conditions here are peculiar. This place exists outside of time zones, devoid of landmass. Here, the sun graces the sky just once each year. Let's journey back over 400 years to the reign of King Henry VII. Imagine a world consumed by the allure of the unknown. Thousands of explorers, hailing from every corner of the globe, were relentlessly driven to reach this elusive point, the North Pole. Some sought a fabled northwest or northeast passage, a shortcut to the riches of China and the Indies. Others were simply compelled by the desire to witness the unimaginable. In 1773, the British Royal Navy, recognizing the scientific importance of the region, organized the first official expedition to the North Pole. Constantine Phipps, a man of courage and intellect, eagerly volunteered to lead this daring mission. The journey was fraught with peril. The two ships struggled against seemingly insurmountable obstacles, battling through fields of thick, unforgiving ice. Smaller boats were needed to tow the larger vessels. There came a moment when Phipps, gazing out at a seemingly endless frozen sea, considered abandoning the ships altogether. But fate intervened. The ships broke free from the icy grip and escaped into the open sea, returning home without achieving their ultimate goal. Years later, in 1882, American explorer James Booth Lockwood edged closer to the prize than any before him. By this time, the Arctic had claimed a heavy toll. At least 750 souls, lost across 42 separate expeditions, had perished in the attempt to reach the pole. Then, on the 7th of September, 1909, a bombshell exploded across the front page of the New York Times. Perry discovers the North Pole. After 8 trials in 23 years. Robert E. Perry, an American explorer of unwavering determination, claimed to have finally reached the North Pole in April of that same year. But in an age before instant communication, news traveled slowly. Perry's message only reached New York in September. But the story doesn't end there. Just a week before Perry's triumphant announcement, the New York Herald published its own sensational headline. The North Pole is covered by Dr. Frederick Cook. Cook, another American explorer, had vanished into the Arctic over a year prior. He had convinced many that he had reached the pole in April 1908, a full year before Perry. Proving these claims was a near impossibility. Unlike the South Pole, a solid landmass, the North Pole drifts upon a shifting sea of ice. A flag or any other physical marker would be quickly rendered meaningless. A detailed travel diary, meticulously documenting daily distances, star positions, and other vital information, would serve as acceptable evidence. But neither Cook nor Perry could produce such records. Thus began a fierce battle for credibility, each man striving to prove his honesty and trustworthiness. For a time, Perry was celebrated as the discoverer of the North Pole. But in 1988, the National Geographic Society re-examined the evidence and concluded that Perry's record simply did not support his claim. Cook's claim, meanwhile, remained neither proven nor disproven, shrouded in the mists of the Arctic. Enter Sir Hubert Wilkins, an Australian-born British explorer. His first expedition to the North Pole in 1913 sparked a revolutionary idea: to reach the pole by submarine. In 1931, he secured a special submarine designated O-12 from the U.S. Navy. This ambitious mission had 2 primary objectives: to conduct scientific experiments while both floating on the ice and navigating beneath the waves, and to ultimately reach the North Pole via an underwater journey. The plan involved studying the weather, measuring temperatures, and collecting water samples from both the surface and the sea floor. The submarine personally selected by Sir Hubert was transported to a shipyard in New Jersey for extensive modifications. It was outfitted with the latest scientific instruments, and its exterior was adapted to withstand the rigors of underwater travel beneath the ice. On March 16th, the submarine, now a vessel of science and exploration, departed the shipyard to begin its journey to the Brooklyn Navy Yard in New York. But even before it could leave the Delaware River, the expedition encountered its first obstacle. A fierce snowstorm forced them to seek refuge at the Philadelphia Navy Yard. Further delays ensued as they stopped to replenish their fuel supplies. As the submarine cautiously entered New York Harbor, tragedy struck. A crew member, a young man of just 27 years old. Tragedy struck when a crew member was lost overboard, vanishing beneath the waves. In solemn remembrance, the submarine received a new name: Nautilus. A poignant moment marked the occasion. The grandson of Jules Verne, the visionary author of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the very novel that breathed life into the submarine's moniker, stood witness before its maiden voyage. The initial trials off the New England coast were far from smooth sailing. Criticism mounted, and the expedition found itself lagging 2 months behind schedule. A decision was made: a direct course for England. However, the Atlantic crossing proved treacherous. On June 13th, violent storms assailed the vessel, and disaster struck. The starboard engine gave way. Pushed beyond its limits, the port engine soon followed, succumbing to exhaustion. Throughout this ordeal, Sir Hubert Wilkins heroically maintained radio contact, relaying the submarine's precarious position back to the United States. With both engines dead, a desperate SOS was broadcast on June 15th. Hope arrived in the form of the USS Wyoming, a colossal vessel on a training mission teeming with naval cadets. The Wyoming took the stricken Nautilus in tow, dragging her to Queenstown, Ireland, and subsequently to Davenport, England, for extensive repairs. The delay stretched further as they awaited crucial spare parts from across the Atlantic. Finally, with the Nautilus restored, she set course for Bergen, Norway. There, she rendezvoused with the submarine's science team and acquired vital equipment. A key addition in Bergen was a specialized diving chamber. This ingenious device allowed scientists to deploy instruments and tools into the depths through a dedicated hatch. On August 5th, the Nautilus, at long last, embarked on her true mission, venturing north in pursuit of the elusive ice floes. Yet, the journey remained fraught with challenges. Mechanical failures and relentless storms plagued their progress. One particularly fierce tempest tilted the submarine at alarming angles, testing the crew's resilience. But on August 19th, their perseverance paid off. The first ice floe materialized on the horizon. For days, they shadowed the icy edge, searching for the optimal location for a dive. 3 days later, an attempt to submerge beneath the ice revealed a shocking discovery. The diving rudders were missing. A diver, plunging into the frigid waters, confirmed the grim reality. The rudders had been deliberately sheared off. Suspicion fell upon a member of the crew, someone who perhaps harbored doubts about the mission and resorted to sabotage. Undeterred, Wilkins, a man of unwavering resolve, sought to salvage the scientific objectives. On the last day of August, a daring plan was hatched. They would force the Nautilus beneath a formidable 3-foot-thick ice floe. By flooding the ballast tanks and meticulously adjusting the trim, they managed to execute several successful dives beneath the icy barrier. After days of persistent research efforts, Wilkins, with heavy heart, concluded that the risks were simply too great. The Nautilus limped into Svalbard, the Norwegian archipelago nestled between mainland Norway and the North Pole, on September 8th. The voyage back was punctuated by the most violent storm yet encountered. Hopes of reaching a port in England were dashed when further storm damage crippled the engines, forcing another unscheduled stop in Bergen. With authorization secured from the United States Shipping Board, the Nautilus was towed from Bergen, finding her final resting place in a Norwegian fjord on November 13, 1931. Years later, in 1958, a new chapter in submarine history would be written. A U.S. submarine, christened once more as the Nautilus, achieved the impossible, becoming the first vessel to reach the North Pole by traversing beneath the Arctic ice. This new Nautilus was a behemoth compared to her predecessor, stretching 319 feet in length and displacing a staggering 3,590 tons. The original Nautilus, by comparison, was a mere 175 feet long. Unlike conventional submarines, this new Nautilus possessed an extraordinary ability to remain submerged for extended periods. This was thanks to its revolutionary atomic engine, an engineering marvel that required no air and consumed only a minuscule amount of nuclear fuel. On July 23, 1958, the Nautilus slipped its moorings at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, embarking on Operation Sunshine. On board were 116 souls, Commander Anderson, 101 officers and crew, and 4 civilian scientists. The Nautilus, a silent hunter of the deep, journeyed north through the Bering Strait, surfacing only once at Point Barrow, Alaska, on August 1st. Imagine a marvel of engineering, a submarine slicing through the inky blackness beneath the Arctic ice. It's August 3rd, and the vessel, a symbol of our nation's ingenuity, glides silently 500 feet below the surface, the ice ceiling varying from a mere 10 to a substantial 50 feet thick. The time is 11:15 p.m. Commander Anderson addresses his crew, a moment etched in history. For the world, for our country, for the Navy, the Nautilus is about to pass directly beneath the North Pole. And so it happens. A silent, historic crossing without pause. Days later, on August 5th, the submarine breaches the surface in the Greenland Sea. 2 days after that, it triumphantly concludes its epic voyage in Iceland. But now, the earth trembles. Imagine the ground beneath your feet beginning to shake violently. The air fills with the acrid stench of volcanic gases, darkening the sky as if night has fallen in the middle of the day. The very ground seems to writhe, swelling and collapsing in unpredictable ways. These are the unmistakable harbingers of a volcanic eruption, a sleeping giant about to awaken. And this is precisely the threat looming over Anchorage, Alaska, with Mount Spur only 75 miles distant. Anchorage, a bustling hub, is home to over half the population of Alaska. Its international airport serves as a critical artery for air cargo. Any sign of unrest from a volcano so close to this vital center commands immediate attention. Consider this. Approximately 350 million people worldwide live within the potential danger zone of an active volcano. That's 1 in 20 souls living under the shadow of a fiery mountain. The residents of Alaska might wish that the reawakening of Mount Spur was merely a fictional tale, but the Alaska Volcano Observatory has detected numerous signs of an impending eruption. The alert level has been raised to yellow, indicating activity above normal background levels. Mount Spur erupted twice in the 1990s, eruptions that were significant in scale. On a volcanic eruption scale of 1 to 10, these eruptions would rank a 6 or 7. While not catastrophic, they still resulted in damages estimated at $10 to $17 million. However, these figures pale in comparison to the 1989 eruption of Mount Redoubt, another Alaskan volcano. That eruption inflicted a staggering $345 million in damages, primarily due to volcanic ash disrupting aircraft engines. A KLM 747 famously lost all engine power mid-flight due to the ash cloud. If the world wasn't already aware of Alaska's volatile geology, it certainly was after that event. When we consider the dangers of volcanic activity, the devastation of Pompeii, Italy, often comes to mind. The ultimate worst-case scenario, a city consumed by lava. Mount Spur, while seemingly less menacing than Vesuvius, still unleashed its fury during its last eruption in the 90s. It ejected volcanic aerosols over 60,000 feet into the atmosphere. Let's delve into the science. Volcanic aerosols are essentially liquid particles released during an eruption. They form when volcanic gases, such as sulfur dioxide, combine with water and other particles in the atmosphere. These aerosols can actually cool the Earth's surface by reflecting sunlight back into space. But that's not all. They can linger in the atmosphere for years after an eruption, potentially causing various health problems. The eruption also unleashed blazing fast avalanches of hot gas and ash, known as pyroclastic flows, along with thick, muddy floods called lahars. And then there were the massive volcanic boulders, nature's cannonballs. Some of these rock fragments, exceeding 3 feet in diameter, were blasted more than 6 miles from the volcano's vent. The intense volcanic heat also melted part of a nearby glacier, triggering even more chaos. Imagine a scene of utter devastation. Debris, tons of it, cascading down, choking the flow of the Chaka-Chatna River. This cataclysmic event births a brand new lake stretching along the valley floor. Yet, from the fiery throat of Mount Spur's initial eruption, a valuable lesson emerges amidst the chaos. Volcanic monitoring is worth its weight in gold. The local systems, ever vigilant, prove their mettle, significantly mitigating the economic fallout from the eruption. Especially crucial for a city bustling with intense air traffic. For now, Mount Spur slumbers, labeled as dormant. But don't be fooled, it could awaken at any moment. Volcanoes fall into 3 distinct categories: active, dormant, and extinct. The classification hinges on their level of activity. An active volcano grumbles and erupts with some regularity, a constant reminder of its power. Dormant volcanoes, on the other hand, have shown recent activity but are currently in a state of repose, biding their time. Finally, there are the extinct volcanoes. Silent giants that have been quiet for so long, we believe their fiery days are over. One of the United States' most formidable active volcanoes is Mount St. Helens. This colossal peak holds the dubious honor of unleashing the most powerful eruption in U.S. history. The sheer force of its last eruption sheared off approximately 300 feet from its summit. Imagine the mountain's peak simply vanishing. And if you were impressed by Mount Spur's ash cloud, prepare to be astounded. St. Helens spewed its ashen fury a staggering 88,000 feet into the atmosphere. Eastern Washington was plunged into an eerie, premature night. But the spectacle didn't end there. In a mere 3 minutes, the eruption ejected 3.7 billion cubic yards of blazing rock and dust, enough to fill 1 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. This fiery deluge engulfed 230 square miles of verdant forest, an area larger than some countries. The prelude to this cataclysm began weeks before May 18, 1980. Earthquakes, harbingers of destruction, rattled the region. A ground-shaking tremor, registering a magnitude of 5.0, triggered a landslide on the volcano's flank. By the eruption's official end date, 57 lives had been tragically lost. Nearly 7,000 big game animals, majestic deer, and elk were annihilated. Millions of birds lay scattered across the scorched earth, a testament to nature's raw power. Researchers believe that St. Helens is unlikely to repeat such a magnitude of eruption anytime soon. However, they maintain a watchful vigil, for this volcano is far from finished. The very word volcano traces its roots to Vulcan, the Roman god of fire. These geological titans often emerge at the convergence of tectonic plates, the Earth's fragmented surface fitting together like an immense jigsaw puzzle. The Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire is the world's most notorious volcanic danger zone. This fiery arc is home to between 750 and 950 active volcanoes. The largest among them, and indeed the world's largest active volcano, is Mauna Loa. This Hawaiian behemoth towers over 13,000 feet. Scientists estimate that Mauna Loa, scientific name not available, has been erupting for at least 700,000 years. Its most recent eruption began on November 27, 2022, and continued until December 13th. After decades of quiet slumber since the 1980s, it decided to stir once more. Thanks to the tireless monitoring efforts of the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, this eruption caused no casualties. The scientific community has invested heavily in volcanic monitoring, not only to mitigate economic risks, but more importantly, to save lives. One recent endeavor involves drilling directly into volcanoes. A team of scientists ventured to Iceland, a global volcanic hotspot. Iceland boasts approximately 33 active volcanoes. However, the one that captures their attention the most is the Krafla volcano. Krafla has erupted roughly 30 times in the last millennium, its most recent outburst occurring in the mid-1980s. The Krafla Magma Testbed Project, or KMT for short, aims to deepen our understanding of magma's behavior beneath the Earth's surface. One significant advantage of this deep drilling research is its potential to forecast volcanic eruptions with greater accuracy. But that's not all. Imagine the possibilities for geothermal energy. Think of a world powered by the inexhaustible force of volcanoes. The dedicated team plans to commence drilling deep into the volcanic Earth in 2027, aiming to penetrate over a mile beneath the surface. After all, monitoring volcanic activity on the surface is one thing, but understanding what's happening deep below ground is a whole different ballgame. This ambitious project will allow researchers to essentially listen to the Earth's very pulse. The researchers themselves are convinced that this undertaking is as groundbreaking as humanity's first steps on the moon. And speaking of celestial bodies, prepare to be amazed. Volcanoes aren't exclusive to Earth. Other planets and moons throughout our solar system boast their own volcanic features. The undisputed heavyweight champion of volcanoes in our solar system is Olympus Mons on Mars. This colossal shield volcano, akin to those forming the Hawaiian Islands, stretches an incredible 370 miles in width. Picture transporting it back to Earth. It would nearly engulf the entirety of Poland. A truly staggering scale. Now, let's turn our attention to a supposed mysterious doorway discovered in the heart of Antarctica. Some speculated it was Bigfoot's secret vacation spot, a hidden shuttlecraft from Star Trek, or even an entrance to Agartha, a mythical kingdom believed to reside at the Earth's core. However, scientists have stepped in to debunk these fanciful theories. The doorway is actually located in a region of fast sea ice, just off the coast, dotted with small islands and shallow waters. When ice floes encounter hard rocks hidden beneath the surface, they create unusual patterns that appear quite strange, but are perfectly normal for this environment. The ice in this area is relatively thin, allowing the underlying rocks to significantly influence its movement. Furthermore, the relentless cold winds of Antarctica sculpt the ice and snow, creating the illusion of lines and shapes. In essence, the mysterious doorway is simply a rocky ridge peeking through a slightly melted patch of ice. The top of the doorway is the rock's tip, while the sides are snowy trails carved by the persistent winds. What we're seeing is essentially a stranded iceberg slowly melting in place. Intrigue doesn't end there. A certain YouTuber stumbled upon another peculiar object, a massive 400-foot-long ice ship located more than 150 meters off the Antarctic coast. The internet exploded with theories, some suggesting it had drifted from the infamous Bermuda Triangle. However, scientific evidence to support the ship theory was non-existent, and many believed it was merely a large chunk of ice. Sure enough, when other internet sleuths revisited the location, they found that the summer melt had claimed the ship, and it was gone. Another intriguing find on Google Maps in Antarctica was a structure resembling a pyramid. But before you jump to conclusions about ancient Egyptians building a secret base, the truth is far less sensational. It turned out to be just another mountain, part of the tallest mountain range in Antarctica, stretching nearly 250 miles. This isn't even the first pyramid-shaped mountain discovered on the continent. Explorers from a British Antarctic expedition had previously found a similar formation and jokingly named it the Pyramid, despite it lacking a true pyramid's shape. But fear not, there are genuine Antarctic wonders to be found. Consider a colossal ice shelf that reminded scientists of the Grand Canyon. A specialized submarine robot named RAN journeyed over 600 meters beneath the thick ice, capturing breathtaking footage of icy mountains, valleys, flat plateaus, and swirling patterns sculpted entirely from ice. One of the most peculiar discoveries was giant, ball-shaped holes, or scoops, in the ice. Sadly, the scientists eventually lost contact with the robot, leaving these icy mysteries unsolved. Imagine the icy depths of Antarctica, where a curious incident might have befallen a robotic explorer. It's theorized that inquisitive Weddell seals, perhaps drawn by the strange device, may have inadvertently bumped into the robot, causing it to become lodged and unable to move. To conserve its dwindling power, the robot likely initiated a shutdown sequence, leaving the scientists unable to re-establish contact. But the team remains undeterred. They are already formulating plans to construct a new, more robust robot designed to withstand the harsh Antarctic environment. The goal: to resume exploration of this frigid canyon and monitor the subtle yet significant shifts in the patterns beneath the ice over the coming years. In another remarkable discovery, a colossal Antarctic canyon was unearthed thanks to an unexpected twist of fate. Inclement weather. A team of acoustic specialists, their work temporarily suspended at the Casey Research Station due to a raging storm, decided to capitalize on the unscheduled downtime. Instead of idly waiting for the weather to clear, they embarked on a mission to map the seabed near the Adams Glacier. It was during this impromptu survey that they stumbled upon a canyon of truly staggering proportions. This underwater chasm plunges to depths of almost 7,000 feet, stretches nearly 30,000 feet in width, and extends for over 28 miles from the glacier's edge. During the initial mapping expedition, the team managed to chart only a portion of the canyon before the deteriorating weather conditions forced them to retreat to the research station. But the lure of the unknown was too strong to resist. When another bout of severe weather descended upon the area, the ship once again set sail, braving towering waves up to 13 feet high and ferocious winds. The determined crew persevered, gathering approximately 15 hours of vital data to complete their mapping efforts. Finally, on their return voyage to Australia, they made one last stop. And now, they possess a comprehensive picture of this extraordinary underwater canyon. The meticulous study of this canyon is providing scientists with invaluable insights into the history of glaciers and the intricate interplay between the Antarctic ice sheet and the surrounding ocean. Now, picture a frozen expanse in Antarctica, home to Lake Enigma. For a long time, it was believed that the lake was a solid block of ice, frozen through and through. However, during one daring expedition, researchers made a startling discovery. Beneath the thick, seemingly impenetrable ice lay a layer of liquid water, approximately 40 feet deep. Driven by curiosity, they drilled through the icy barrier and deployed a camera to explore the hidden depths of the lake. What they found was astonishing. The lake's water, believed to originate from the nearby amorphous glacier through a network of secret underground channels, teemed with bizarre microbial life. These microscopic organisms formed intricate mats that carpeted the lake bed. Some of these mats were delicate and spiky, while others resembled crumpled carpets or even miniature tree-like structures reaching up to 16 inches in height. Remarkably, many of these microbes were capable of producing their own food through photosynthesis, much like plants, resulting in a high concentration of oxygen in the lake's waters. One of the most intriguing discoveries was a species of microbe typically found in low-oxygen environments. Lake Enigma may bear a striking resemblance to environments found on icy moons, such as Europa or Enceladus. This suggests that these moons may also harbor hidden reservoirs of water beneath their icy surfaces, and perhaps even microbial life. Adding to the list of Antarctic enigmas, tiny fragments of amber have been unearthed in the region's mudstone. This marks the first ever discovery of amber in Antarctica. After years of painstaking analysis of remarkably well-preserved fossilized roots, pollen, and spores discovered back in 2017, scientists have confirmed that the amber is proof that resin-producing trees once flourished in Antarctica. These trees were part of a verdant rainforest that thrived near the South Pole during the mid-Cretaceous period. Imagine that. During that era, these trees would have had to endure months of complete darkness during the long Antarctic winters. Scientists hypothesize that they adapted to these harsh conditions by entering a prolonged state of dormancy. The amber fragments discovered are small, but they exhibit stunning shades of yellow and orange with textured surfaces that reveal how the resin flowed from the trees. This resin likely served as a protective barrier against insects. It was preserved thanks to rapid submersion in water, which shielded it from the damaging effects of sunlight and air. In another fascinating find, a scientist, while scrutinizing satellite imagery for telltale brown trails of penguin waste, stumbled upon 4 previously unknown colonies of emperor penguins at the bottom of the globe. These new colonies have likely existed for many years, though 3 of them. They are quite small, with fewer than 1,000 breeding penguins in each. Each of these newfound colonies was located near the Lazar of Ice Shelf, an area that formerly hosted a larger penguin colony. It was initially believed that this larger colony had vanished around 2019. However, it appears the penguins simply relocated due to shifting sea ice conditions. Studying these penguins could provide crucial insights into how emperor penguins, Aptenodytes forsteri, adapt to environmental changes. Now let's journey back millions of years to a time when a colossal river system flowed across Antarctica some 40 million years ago. Researchers unearthed evidence of this ancient river by scrutinizing soft sediments and hardened rocks extracted from the frozen seabed. By examining minute traces of radioactive elements such as uranium and lead, they determined that the deeper layers of sediment dated back to the age of dinosaurs. The upper layers, closer to the surface, were younger and exhibited patterns reminiscent of river deltas seen today, like those of the Mississippi River or the Rio Grande. Remarkably, scientists even detected subtle signs of life within the sand itself. This ancient river, originating in the Transantarctic Mountains, stretched an impressive 930 miles before emptying into the sea. By continuing to study more recent sediment layers from approximately 20 million years ago, researchers hope to gain a better understanding of Earth's potential future weather patterns. Consider Lake Enigma, a truly fitting name. Its very existence seems improbable, yet we've now discovered life thriving deep beneath its icy surface. This discovery could prove invaluable to NASA in their quest to find life beyond Earth. This lake is buried deep within Antarctica's icy heart. It's not a typical body of water, but rather a solid block of ice. Or so we thought. Recently, Italian scientists made an astonishing discovery. Beneath the ice lies an actual body of water, teeming with life. Various microorganisms and even some peculiar little predators inhabit this hidden world. This is particularly surprising given Enigma's remote and harsh location in northern Victoria Land, Antarctica. The entire South Pole is frigid, but this particular region experiences temperatures plummeting to a bone-chilling 40°. On average, it remains a consistently icy place. As we mentioned, this lake technically shouldn't even exist. Antarctica is the largest desert on our planet, despite its icy veneer. Rainfall is virtually non-existent, snowfall is minimal, and the sun's evaporative power is negligible. Even if water were present, the intense winds would quickly desiccate everything. Let's consider the facts. This lake should, theoretically, lose an astounding 7 million cubic feet of water annually. Yet the water remains. The reason? A mystery. Scientists speculate that an underground source replenishes the lake constantly, but they have no idea what it could be. Perhaps subterranean rivers, melting ice, or something else entirely unknown. Hence, the name Enigma. The block of ice we mentioned earlier is permanent and incredibly thick, measuring at least 36 feet. That's taller than a 3-story building. Researchers decided to investigate what lies beneath. To do so, they employed ground-penetrating radar, a sophisticated echo detector for the Earth. This radar emits invisible radio waves into the ground. When these waves encounter something below the surface, such as rocks, water, or other materials, they bounce back to the device. By measuring the time it takes for the signal to return and its strength, scientists can determine the distance and composition of what the radar encountered. It's the same method animals like bats, whales, and dolphins use to navigate underwater. We humans borrowed this ingenious natural technique to study buried structures. Imagine, hidden beneath the icy expanse of Antarctica, a team of scientists meticulously scans the surface of Lake Enigma. They employ specialized equipment to map the unseen world below. This is no simple task. It's a journey into the unknown, a quest to unveil the secrets held captive under a thick, frozen lid. The submerged world reveals itself piece by piece, and a comprehensive map of this subglacial realm is finally created. The existence of water under the ice is hardly a surprise, but what truly astonishes the researchers is the unique ecosystem thriving within. No monstrous leviathans or alien artifacts are found this time, but something far more profound awaits them. Microorganisms unlike any seen before. These microscopic life forms have somehow carved out an existence in complete isolation, enduring extreme cold and darkness for eons. While the types of microorganisms aren't entirely unknown, their specific adaptations are a source of wonder. Several distinct groups call this frigid world home. First, there are the Bacteroidata. These tiny organisms excel at breaking down complex molecules, much like the bacteria in our own stomachs, that aid in digesting tough plant fibers. While they frequently reside within us, they can also be found in soils and oceans. Then come the Actinobacteriota, the ingenious chemists of the bacterial world. They decompose organic materials, enriching the soil. Astonishingly, they are also prolific producers of antibiotics, playing a critical role in modern medicine. We owe them a great debt. The presence of Pseudomonodonta comes as no surprise. These adaptable organisms can thrive in a wide range of environments, from soil and water to the human body. Some are beneficial, aiding plant growth and nutrient cycles, while others can be opportunistic pathogens, the bad guys. But the real revelation lies in the abundance of Patessibacteria. These are ultra-small, even by microorganism standards, and possess limited capabilities. As such, they typically live in symbiosis or as parasites, relying on a host for nutrients and other essential resources. These communities of microscopic chompers may be relics from a time before Lake Enigma froze over entirely, a period stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. The discovery of these bacteria is particularly intriguing because Patessibacteria usually thrive in low-oxygen environments, but Lake Enigma is rich in oxygen, despite being capped by nearly 40 feet of ice. What does this mean? It suggests that these specific microorganisms may be entirely new to science, having evolved unique adaptations to survive in Lake Enigma's unusual chemical environment. They likely depend on a simple and fragile food web. Some produce energy from what little light penetrates the ice, or from the lake's unique chemical composition. And the symbiotic species? They likely survive by living on or inside their neighbors. Even in this seemingly desolate place, a struggle for survival unfolds. Microscopic creatures hunt each other, a reminder that life finds a way, even in the most extreme conditions. Unlocking the secrets of their survival could provide invaluable insights into chemistry, medicine, and even the possibility of extraterrestrial life. If life can thrive in such extreme conditions on Earth, it could potentially exist on Europa and Enceladus, the ice-covered moons of Jupiter and Saturn, both believed to harbor subsurface oceans. Antarctica, in this sense, serves as an extraterrestrial analog, a glimpse into the possibilities that may exist beyond our planet. It's a land of hidden mysteries and surprising creatures. Even beyond Lake Enigma, the South Pole teems with life. Consider the McMurdo Dry Valleys, often called Earth's Mars. These valleys, located in Victoria Land, are among the most extreme and mysterious places on Earth. They are also among the driest places on the planet. Now, imagine a landscape unlike anything else in the South Pole. Here, the endless expanse of white gives way to something unexpected. Vast stretches of land, almost entirely free of snow and ice, spread out before us. It's a stark, alien world. Underneath the intensely cold ground, we might even discover sand dunes scattered amongst the rough, imposing mountains. The terrain is primarily loose gravel, peppered with ancient rocks, predominantly granite, and something called gneiss. Gneiss, a rock forged in the heart of the earth, tells a dramatic story. This isn't your average stone. Gneiss is born when granite and sedimentary rocks are subjected to unbelievable pressure and searing heat, a process known as metamorphism. These extreme conditions are so intense that they fundamentally alter the minerals, rearranging them into distinct layers. This gives gneiss its beautiful layered appearance, like a geological layer cake baked over millions of years. What makes this place truly remarkable is that it remains almost perfectly preserved, a window into a distant past. These valleys are frozen in time, offering us a rare glimpse into Earth as it was millions of years ago. And that includes life itself, in its most tenacious forms. The local winds are absolutely brutal. Terrifying gusts of icy air race downhill, evaporating snow faster than it can even melt. Logically, one wouldn't expect to find much water here, let alone life. Yet, against all odds, we stumble upon frozen lakes and saline ponds nestled within these dry valleys. Here, life defies all expectations, pushing the very boundaries of our understanding of biology. It exists within the rocks themselves. Microorganisms find refuge in the slightly moist cracks and crevices deep inside. Consider endolithic bacteria. These microscopic organisms are incredibly resilient. Unlike other microorganisms, they don't roam around. They remain firmly rooted within their rocky homes. How do they survive? Through photosynthesis, just like plants. They capture tiny amounts of light that penetrate the crevices, acting like miniature solar panels, drawing energy from the sun. Meanwhile, in another location, beneath the Taylor Glacier, lives bacteria that consumes absolutely nothing conventional. No comfort, no sunlight, not even oxygen sustains them. Instead, these organisms rely on a diet of dusty rocks and sulfur to fuel their bizarre metabolisms. By breaking down sulfur and iron, they extract the energy needed to survive. They thrive in deep, sub-freezing conditions, completely isolated from sunlight, oxygen, and the outside world. This place is a paradox, captivating both for the life it harbors and the life it lacks. In certain areas of the valleys, like University Valley, yes, that's its actual name, the permafrost is so unforgiving that no microbes have been found at all. This may be one of the only places on Earth where life appears to be entirely absent. A chilling thought. Scientists are now turning their attention to Lake Enigma, with plans to drill into this Mars-like environment. The goal? To gather samples and gain insights into how we might search for life on Mars in the future, seeking to understand where and how life could take hold on the red planet.